This is a quick guide how to use typography and lettering in your work using Illustrator. So this is a little guide to how you can set up, maintain and manage. So I've got a little article here which is going to be on an A4 page. So if I go for File and New, I can set up A4 under Print at the top, select A4 and Portrait and press Create. So I've already got mine set up. I've got a text layer. On my layers everything's actually on one layer. You've got sub layers within it. And I've got top tips just as a heading to grab people's attention. I've got some expanded graphics at the top there, so they're just speech marks that I've managed to invert. So on here I've got, tends to be what the design rules are to follow the rule of thirds. So I've got a heading, a subheading, and then my main content. So tips for junior designers, add new techniques to your skill set. As a training designer, it's important to refresh, learn, and demonstrate new skills. Blah blah blah. So it's all just the information that you're going to use for your main article, whatever your main article is on. So the way I like to structure this to begin with is I go to Window, and then I'd recommend using Type, and then Character. Okay, so you've got your character options here. I tend to leave those out, so I've got them. You may also want to use Type and then Paragraph as well. So your paragraph options, I might just pop those together so they're in the same tab. Alright, so if I'm creating a new section and I'm going to write out what my heading is, I've got my size, my font, whatever that font might be, something quite formal and important. Okay, I've had some Art Deco fonts on my system, so I'm going to go with an Art Deco one for that one. My spaces there. That's the main heading. I'm not going to use that font. I'm going to mix it up and use something a little bit more formal. There we go. So that'll be my main heading. Whilst I've got that highlighted, so I can double click on it with the text tool. You can double click on it with the normal selection tool as well if you wanted to, highlight it all, and then I've got different options. I can affect the kerning, which is the space between it, the letter spacing, sorry, the kerning's individual letters, but I can go to 100 so it's spaced out. Okay, so what I can do in Illustrator as well, I can just stretch it. So at the end of this line, I'm going to go to the next line, and I might put a little bit of more information to do with my subheading. If I can spell subheading. And my subheading tends to have more information in it. Now, notice how my lines are really far apart. It's because I've got my line spacing set so high to 88. If I start bringing it around, I can get it pretty close. So the one I've done up here, the font choice I've got there is TW Century. Now in here, if I put more information, this area is my subheading and gives more info. What I might then do is highlight it and just make it smaller, so it's the secondary part of information. Now when you make it smaller like that, you realise you actually give up the ability to change the line spacing on it. So what I can do now is I can start to play around with where that sits. And then your core content, the reason why you wrote the article, can sit below. I've got caps lock on. So my article will be written below. Now it tends to be that that might then become columns. Okay, so when I'm using the text tool, I just click and then I'm typing in free space. If not, you can then just use your text box to draw a text box, and then you're restricted by that, and it will put lorem ipsum filler text in there if you want to. Okay, so that's the way you can do articles. Now if I was going to do a full newspaper article, I might send myself over to InDesign. Okay, but just for doing a poster graphic, and you may have an image that goes below it that showcases what we're talking about, I can end up with a pretty formal looking document straight from the off. So now I have a page article that I'll be able to use as a print, poster or something else like that to use for promotional purposes. But for using my lettering, always consider your paragraph and character tabs, and they're under Window, and Type, and they're all down here. Have a little look at the kerning, the spacing between them. You've got slant for italics, and you've also got line spacing as well. So give them a go and see what you can come up with.